everybody. Something new that I've been planning to do since we have a playoff push coming up. It's going to be the predictions video. So we are now in excuse me, week 12. I'm going to go through every matchup and tell you who I predict is going to win and why. We'll start off this week with the Rams, who is piping hot, leading the NFC West, versus the Dolphins, who've come up with a fresh win against the Patriots. Marcus Johnson has been on fire with Marquise Brown. We all know what's coming, but we still can't stop it. I think he leads the #1 offense in the league right now as far as passing yards. It's going to be a tough task for the Dolphins. I believe the Dolphins should be able to get his rookie receiver Rieger back this week. But he also has a speedy weapon that he can combat against Marcus, which is Isabella, who's been having a hell of a season. So I guess this may come down to who can make a stop, or who can make the most stops and get the most turnovers to win this one. So I'm going to take the Rams on this one just because he's been on a tear, and I don't know if the Dolphins have enough defense to be able to slow him down. Steelers versus Colts. Steelers coming off of an upset win against the division-leading Ravens, and the Colts coming off of a shellacking against Super Bowl champion Chris York and the Texans. This should be a pretty good one. Based on skill level, I feel that they're pretty even. I think that the Colts at home will rebound against Kai and the Steelers on this one and secure the win. Bears and Vikings. Although the Vikings has a pretty strong roster, he hasn't gotten as much of a hang on how to use them just yet. So he's kind of had of a down season. Looks like he's maybe shooting for the draft at this point. This is a division rival. I still expect him to give a good shot. But I think I'm going to take the Bears with this one just based on the fact the Bears are fighting for a lot more during this time of the year. And they need to win pretty bad because the division race is tightening up. 49ers and Eagles. King Boy 04 or King Reyes, whatever his name is. 49ers just come up a big division win against the Cardinals, which was a tough opponent. And he's now playing the Eagles, who are a bit going in a different direction as far as production and playoff seeding. So I'm going to take the 49ers by a landslide on this one. Packers and Jaguars. This should be an entertaining matchup. Fan favorite J.J. Reggins has just returned. He's been up and down since he got back in, but I feel like after his last game, he's finally caught some heat, and his offense looks like it's clicking, and he's starting to get toned down defensively. Jacksonville Jaguars. Justin Jones has been a staple in this league, a veteran in this league for a very long time, consistently great, consistently competitive, never complains, puts his hard hat on and plays the game the way it's supposed to be played. So it's going to be a tough one. This one is a toss-up for me because both of them have history. I've played them both, and they both know the game really well. I feel that the Jags are really fighting hard for playoff positioning. He's had some upsets by small margins, and he's at home. So I'm going to take the home team by a slight cunt here on this one with the Jaguars with the win. Bills and Titans. Moses the Great keeps going under the radar with only about 2 losses in the season. Buffalo Bills have one of the greatest air shows in the league this year as he goes up against the Titans, who started off the first quarter of the year on fire, came a little bit back down to earth with a few losses, but he's still a formidable opponent, plays a really solid defense, does not turn the ball over. This is going to be a good one, which is why it was slated as game of the week. This is a tough one. These two have been battling for as long as I knew them both. I know them both very well, and this is really a toss-up to me. I suspect a close one with minimal turnovers, but at the end of the day, I'm going to give the win to the Bills just based off the fact he has so many offensive weapons, and I don't know if the Titans can keep up with it. It's going to be a tough one. the Titans can make some big defensive plays, they can steal this one, but the Bills have so much on offense it's kind of hard to overcome. Next matchup is the Ravens and Browns. Tariq Khalil and the Ravens were leading the division by a landslide at first, but he's been sliding for a few games, so he's kind of on the ropes right now. And Browns user Nell Phelps, this is the perfect time for him to make some noise in the division with a big win and keep himself in the division race. I feel like the Browns had a really good game against the Jags, that he came up just a small bit short with the onside kick that caught him off guard in the second half. So Tariq just has his work cut out for him here. I'm going based on history. I know Tariq has been solid, but Tariq has these stretches mid-season where he slides. So I'm going to take the Browns on this one. I think the Browns have a really solid game plan, and I think that he came in the league a little bit late, and he's finally starting to find his stride. And I think this week is the week that he may prove that he can get that big win at home. Chargers Chiefs, another hot burner. Yarok and the Chiefs have another high-powered offense, very hard to contain. Todd Gurley, he has just multiple weapons everywhere, airing the ball out, running the ball. I don't know about the defense. It's not that great, but it's enough to slow opponents down. So this is a division rival, and Lance Mills with the Chargers, who came up with a pretty decent win last week. Lance Mills has not taken the lead by storm, but he has also shown that he can square up with any opponent, and he can be in the game and put up a good fight and win some big games. So more so, this would be more of a desperation win for the Chargers, who needs to slow down the Chiefs to catch the division. But again, high-powered offense with the Chiefs, I would have to expect to see a very, very, very strong defensive performance by the Chargers to win this one. If not, I don't feel like he can score enough points to keep up with the high-powered Chiefs. So I'm taking Chiefs at home with this one. Panthers and Falcons. Panthers user Johnny Cash has been the quiet assassin in the league. I do not know if anyone knows this. This guy has been winning solid, and has not said a word. He has been under the radar. This is your notice. Don't fuck with the Panthers. The Panthers is a very formidable opponent. He's going up against the Falcons, who started off a little bit slow. Markel Stevens and the Falcons started off a little bit slow, but got back in the swing of things. So this is a big division game for the Falcons. I think it's going to be a tough one. Based on skill alone, I think the Panthers have an edge on this one. But anything can happen. But as far as my prediction, I feel the Panthers are going to take this one by about 10 points. Giants and Cardinals. I am the Cardinals, so I can't speak too biasly towards myself. I need a win. I need a win, and I'll be at home. The Giants just came off a big win against the Lions, where he put on a defensive showcase. So he's not going to be easy battle at all. He's coming in at 500, but his record is still one game out of the division lead. So he has a lot to play for. This is going to be a good one. Of course, I'm going to take myself in this one, hoping that I don't turn the ball over as I always do, and I can play some pretty decent defense and slow this guy down before he can, get going. But it's going to be a good one. We'll see. Maybe a close game. I suspect my defense can show up if I can get Aaron Donald to get some sacks. Might be able to pull it out, but we'll see. So I'm taking Cardinals in this one. Pats and Raiders. John Banks and the Raiders started off pretty slow. He had a good stretch of games. He came back down to earth last week with a loss, but he has been balling. Newcomer Bradley with the Patriots. He's first time in the franchise. He's still kind of getting the swing of things, so he hasn't made as much noise as he thought he would early on. He's kind of in the finding himself out phase right now, so I'm going to take the Raiders on this one, just based on experience. I think the Patriots next year will be a formidable force, but they need a little more repetition, a little more gameplay to get an identity as far as what they want to do. Seahawks and Redskins. Seahawks, Chris White is in a very tough division where every win counts, every loss counts, in a very tight division race. He was on fire until he faced some formidable opponents. Redskins with Lamar Jackson and Jaden Robinson. aren't a bad team, but they are about a subpar team. So this is going to be a tall task for him to complete. If he turns the ball over a lot and if the Seahawks blitzes like crazy, he cannot turn the ball over. Turnovers will be key, but I'm choosing the Seahawks in this one. I think the Seahawks has the Redskins on this one, unless the Redskins can re-identify the way he turns the ball over. Broncos and Jets, this one is a toss-up. Both these guys, Mark and France, both have hot and cold streaks. They seem to beat up on each other pretty hard when they play each other. So I know they share some other leagues together. So this is going to be a toss-up for me. I can't call it. The Jets have been putting together some strings and some games that I was very surprised. And they are at home. I'd hope that the Broncos can make this a good one and give him a run for his money. But I'm taking the Jets at home for this one because the Jets have been playing well. And not to say the Broncos haven't. I just haven't seen enough of the Broncos consistently to say they'll take the Jets at home right now. Texans and Lions, two different teams and two different realities. Chris York and the Texans are on fire. I think he's the #1 team in the league right now as far as record, power rankings and whatnot. #1 rushing team in the league and top 5 defense in the league. He's going against Patrick Mahomes and Dante Court and the Lions. The Lions and Dante Court, usually Dante Court is a player. He's been in the league for a very long time as well. He needs one season to get his identity and get a game plan for a season. So right now he's a little bit in the bottom tier, but please don't disregard. This guy competes. He's going to give his best shot every single night. I don't think it will be enough for Chris York and the Texans because Chris York is the upper echelon of the league players, and he puts some ass whoopings together that many can't handle. But the Lions will be able to put up some type of a fight. And watch out for the Lions next year, but I'm taking the Texans in this one by a landslide. Bengals and Cowboys, this is as far as skill level, I had to give the edge slight to the Cowboys because the Cowboys plays man a lot more, maybe a little more comfortable with his team than the Bengals. The Bengals has been making some noise and been in some tight games, so he's not necessarily out of it. This is going to come down to who can turn over the ball the least in this matchup. I don't know either one of them to be a run-first team, so we'll see who can make the most difficult passes and who can put points on the board and who can make some stops. And this one, I'm predicting. This is tough. I'll take the Cowboys by about a touchdown in this one because they're at home. It's going to be a tough one, tougher than both of them probably think with each other, so we'll see. Saints and Bucks, Daniel Johnson is another staple of the league, veteran of the league, been in the league the entire time the league has been set up. A competitor, very stand-up, outstanding dude. He plays all of his games regardless of his record. He plays night in and night out, gives his best effort every single week. He also needs about a year sometimes to get his team direction together, and then he re-identifies his team next year with holes and whatnot, and he's a formidable opponent as well. Going up against the Buccaneers, Delvon Davis has been in the league for quite some time. He does have a lot of stretches of inactivity because he does work a lot, so this may be a forced win for the Saints. We did have a Delvon Davis sighting a few days ago, so hopefully, he gets some time to free up to be able to play. They're both kind of in the bottom tier right now, fighting for the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. So we'll see how this game turns out. But if the game is played, I'm going to take the Saints by a field goal. And those are our predictions this week for Week 12. In other news, standings. Texans are #1, 9-1. Panthers are 9-1. Bills 8-2. Rams 8-2. Titans 8-2. 49ers 8-2. Chiefs 7-3. Cardinals 7-3. Packers 7-3. Seahawks 7-3. Bears 6-4. Ravens 6-4. Jaguars 5-5. Dolphins 5-5. Bengals 5-5. Steelers 5-5. Giants 5-5, Falcons 5-5, Cowboys 5-5, Jets 4-5-1, Colts 4-6, Broncos 4-6, Browns 3-6-1, Redskins 3-7, Raiders 3-7, Chargers 3-7, Vikings 2-8, Saints 2-8, Pats 2-8, Bucks 2-8, Eagles 1-9, Lions 1-9. As you all can see, the 5-5 clan is huge, and all of these teams are within 2 or 3 games of each other. So we have a lot of football left. So please be advised, this race won't be easy. Divisions are heating up. The competition is heating up. These are the times where make or break. You'll see, as far as NFL, top 5 offenses: Texans, Rams, Ravens, Seahawks, Bills. Top 5 in the league. Defense: Cardinals are number 1, Packers are number 2, Titans, Falcons, and the Ravens. And to close out, annual awards. MVP race right now, as of right now, it's Matt Ryan, Marquise Brown, DeAndre Swift, Nick Chubb, Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, Isabella, Royce Freeman, Deshaun Watson, and Darius Geis. Coach of the Year candidate: Sean Taylor of the Panthers, Bill O'Brien, Chris Dale, Mike Vrabel, Drew Savage, Mo Chambers, COVID-19 of the Cardinals, Andy Reid, Kobe Bryant of the Seahawks, and John Harbaugh. We'll go quickly through the AFC. Number 1, Offensive Player of the Year, Isabella. As far as now, Defensive Player of the Year, Quandre Diggs. Offensive Rookie, Justin Herbert. Defensive Rookie, Isaiah Simmons. Best QB, Herbert again. Best Running Back, Nick Chubb. Best Wide Receiver, Isabella. Best O Lineman, Trent Williams. Best D Lineman, Fletcher Cox. Best Linebacker, Shaquille Barrett of the Ravens. Best Defensive Back, Quandre Diggs of the Texans. And Best Kicker, Aldic Rojas of the Chargers. Going to the NFC as we close out. Offensive Player of the Year candidate right now, number 1, Marquise Brown of the Rams. Eric Kendricks, Defensive Player of the Year of the Panthers. Offensive Rookie, DeAndre Swift of the Panthers. Defensive Rookie, Jalen Johnson of the Rams. Best QB, Aaron Rodgers of the Seahawks. Best Running Back, DeAndre Swift of the Panthers. Best Wide Receiver, Marquise Brown of the Rams. Best O Lineman, David Bakhtiari of the Rams. Best D Lineman, Big Aaron Donald of the Cardinals. Best Linebacker, Eric Kendricks of the Panthers. Best Defensive Back, Jalen Johnson of the Rams. And Best Kicker, Kaimi Fairbairn of the Rams. So we have a wide open race for awards, a wide open race for divisions. Let's get it in, guys. Make a strong playoff push, and look out for the predictions for next year. Next week. My apologies. It's not easy to talk on this thing sometimes. So week 13 predictions will be out next week. So enjoy, and talk to you all later. Have a good one. Peace.